Hello everybody. I'm in a different car because my car is a little bit broken. And just yesterday we had an online meeting with the Peace Village members, and I just because of the corona and the isolation of the society, we all need to stay home. We all need to be 2 meters away. I don't know how in different countries, but that's the regulations here in Latvia. I don't know. Some of them follow these regulations, some of them don't, but it doesn't matter. There are some kind of a little bit of panic that you can notice in the surrounding people, and that's because of that I had this feeling. Now just imagine what will happen if everything stops. I mean, like everything, the established system as we have right now here, the economical system, call it whatever you want to call it, the fuels, the bankings, in all of that nature. How slippery the economics actually is, how slippery, how thin gap between is. As we channeled before, the Pleiadians told that, or some spiritual being, I don't remember in which channeling it was, but they told that basically our economical system or the controlling system is like a ship with full of holes, like who is slowly sinking, and people which are in the ship, in the old ship, these people who we are in it, are trying to add a little more with the sticky tape, block some holes so the water doesn't come in that fast. But nevertheless, it's a slowly sinking ship, and it's not actually going anywhere. It's standing still on a spot, and all the effort is only used to make the ship sink a little slower, and it's about time, and it's already has been, it's already is developing a completely new vessel, a completely new ship for the alternative society, or the new society that's being born right now, or is slowly borning here in this planet, or maybe it's already established in different places of this planet. But talking about the effects from the corona or COVID virus, I noticed there's one thing that is really, I think, beneficial, and one downside. It's now pretty cold. It's now pretty cold here. It will be highly pleasurable and joyful and great if the weather would be really warm outside, but it's also dependent on which country of the world you are. But the downsides, actually, now the good sides even more, is that people are friendlier and peaceful. They have become a little bit friendlier and peaceful. I don't know how to, in simple words, describe this, but how I would describe in a smaller story would be, now imagine that all of a sudden the system has stopped. All of a sudden everybody is stopped. The governmental structures, the banking structures, everything, it just stopped. And also I want to tell a little more additional information. We also did channeling about the way the universe balances everything, and it's a really, really interesting way. But what the information told was that basically everything returns to its original state. Everything returns to its balance. Now, I don't know how to describe it in simple words, but eventually days will be as long as nights. Eventually on this planet there is equally sun shining on it and equally night on it. That means that because the sun, the globe is turning around, there is absolutely balance into everything, because we live, as I understood from the creation perspective of the universe, we live in a completely dual world, and this world or reality in which we are, it's made from duality. It's not that there is a part of duality, but the duality itself is the main principle. It's a main similar principle, a simple principle of the all creation. Here we are. It's the duality was basically polarity, positive side and negative side, and there is always a balance between them. There is always a balance between them, and this polarity will and is coming across in all areas, in all fields, which means that basically if you are very, very successful, then definitely there will be a time where you have the opposite experience. And if you are doing too good, then there will be an opposite experience as well. It's the same as karma and overall. So how I see it is that basically it's inescapable, no matter who and what somebody thinks that maybe he wants to control all the world and maybe he wants to be the richest person in the world. It's nearly impossible to be it. You can have success for a period of time, and then it will change. It will change to a completely different, or it will change and start turning downwards and upwards and downwards again. It's a way of keeping balance, so that nobody is too great and nobody is too let's say weak. So overall, we balance ourselves throughout these lives, and therefore, eventually, what I want to tell is that regarding to COVID virus and everything, that there is also a balance between how many people born and how many people die. It's a complete balance. It's inescapable, and the universe will always find a way. It will always find a way how to keep this balance, and there is nothing we can do to change it. There's completely nothing we can do to change it. All we can do is stop creating panics and allow the universe to balance itself in a absolute harmonious way, so that we don't have that much upsides and we don't have that much downsides. And what I think also about the established systems that we have right here, I think the longer lasting systems are those systems that you don't know whether electric scooters will be popular for a year, 2 years, or 5 years. You don't know whether mobile phones will be popular after 5 years. You don't know that. But the most well-established systems know that you can take, let's say, a percent of any movement that is going on within the system. Let's say we want to drive somewhere, we want to go somewhere, we want to transfer something, we want to buy something. It doesn't matter what's the topic, but the most better established system just want to take percent of the movement. But nevertheless, it also is a fading thing. So how I see this COVID virus with all the channeling information, the virus, I think, is nothing special. It's nothing too big. It's nothing the thing that we need to worry about. I don't think that much about the virus itself, but what I see is that people have stopped. People have stopped still, and they have like the system has stopped, or some part of the system has stopped. The majority of the hypnosis or the propaganda, which is always constantly every day pumping us, has basically maybe stopped for, let's say, a certain or decent amount. And many people, I think, and I do believe, that have stopped, and they're like, well, wait, and the hypnosis is coming out, it's fading out a little bit, and they are like, okay, what should I do now? It's like everything has stopped, what should I do now? And imagine also if the system stops completely without any returns, then what can we do as humans? What can we do? Because the system has established in a way that, let's say, how you call it, fulfills our, let's say, main needs, and when it stops, we have to have a different system. We have to have a different setup of a different way of living, or the balance itself has come back that we should or we need to, or we will, or hope we will, return to the qualities of us being humans, mean like sharing, caring, giving maybe, and helping each other, which in my interpretation means that reduction of, let's say, egoistic thinking, or the I don't actually think that egoistic thinking is something natural to humans related to the channelings we had. There was the survival instinct that was in our genetics maybe from many years ago, or decades ago, or how you call it, these generations ago, that basically some part of the society has learned to survive by taking from others, like stealing, taking, killing maybe as well. And these instincts in our, let's say, abundant times that we have right now, we have everything. We have warm, we have food, we have everything. That these DNA qualities that we have, or these instincts that we have, or these way of thinking we have, is changing to well, we don't need to kill to get from somebody, we don't need to steal to get from somebody, we have it all already, or let's say in the minimum qualities that we need, most of us have it already. And then it's, what I think, it's returning back to the our true self, or our natural self, which basically will give us the idea that we maybe as humans want to cooperate with each other, and thus receive like a pleasurable, heartful happiness feeling, or warmness in the heart, that we can help each other, that we can cooperate with each other, that we can assist each other, thus creating a completely opposite balance from taking from others to giving to the others. That means that maybe for many years we have lived in the idea that we need to take care of ourselves, means taking from the others, and returning back now to the opposite polarity, which would be giving to the others, which will be sharing and giving to the others. So how I see now this situation is that in my friends, I see so many, let's say, truth. That's what I said, truth. I see so many people that are, okay, everything has stopped, or basically a majority of the part has stopped. I see only a couple of cars passing me, like one, this is maybe the second car on a, let's say, a busy highway, which normally would be 10 to 20 cars driving right now opposite to me. Everything has stopped, and then there is this heartful feeling for people. We are in peace. We already have everything. We don't need to run anywhere. What can we do right now? And they wanna, what I feel, people wanna talk and share and care and go outside to the nature and dig something, or maybe do something in something. I call it being a human. I call it being humanity, or being the humanness qualities. Like I would call it like this: we as humans, like taking this DNA from the original humans, we are mixed together with hybrids and everything, but taking this original DNA, which is slowly coming back to us, this way of thinking, of giving and sharing, is the returning back to the qualities of the higher dimension, or the higher vibration, or the higher energy, or the angelic way of dimension. Higher vibration will be easier. And this quality is already built in us. So what happens when we start giving, when we start caring, when we start cooperating, when we start making things that help others, not making things that we can take from others, like for example making petrol cars that need to fix all the time and then take taxes and take constantly for others to attain egoistic self-individual, let's say, qualities to build them up, but in a completely opposite way, giving to the on building and creating for the world that's beneficial for everybody. Like for example for this cat which is walking over the street. And yeah, and so I start to feel that these qualities are starting to arise and awaken, that these qualities are awakening slowly, like slowly these qualities awakening. Let's give away to people that are walking. Okay, so I see some cars right now and some people right now as well. It's not that everybody is home and being afraid of. Somebody's telling, totally agree. Like what? This is like a wake-up call for a big part of us. That's what who wrote in the comments. Yeah, I totally agree with that. And now let's think about a little bit differently. If we were in a situation where we were not ready for this, there will be panics and everything of that nature, maybe even wars, maybe even something that people want to panic and go to the shops, and shops don't have enough goods, they start taking from each other, and the panic just hits up so rapidly up. But now we go to the stores, everything is full and we have no panic. There are like 20 other stores, we go there and it's okay. Yeah, I will take this one, I will take rice and grain food, or maybe something else, I don't know, potatoes maybe. And there is sufficient, so there's no panic for it. There's actually no way of actually having a panic, because everybody has something in their home, everybody can actually grow something. And I think this is a way also how this is being a little bit from the terms of physical perspective, not energetical perspective. From the energetical perspective, we all already are in a small part. Everybody has this idea a little bit that we have lived out this junk that we have right now, this morism, I call it, this crazy type of living, this completely out of balance of living that we want to take from the other. We want to do all silly things like poison the earth, cut down the trees, oceans full of garbage, and all these crazy things to the nature. And everybody is just seeing them in their hypnosis state. They're thinking, yeah, we are doing good, we are making business, or we are doing the things I needed to do because I'm fulfilling an order in certain ways. But I truly believe that everybody is like cutting down a tree or throwing down garbage. They're like, well, but I don't think that was the right thing. They're like, I don't think that is that I needed to do this. They don't think that much, but they just feel it. They just feel it, and they maybe look backwards and think maybe I need to pick it up, or they just look backwards and maybe I don't need to cut down that tree. There maybe I can clean up the forest, just make it a better, shinier place. But maybe I don't need to cut down like or pollute everything. In that nature, what I think. And right now that this, let's say, corona or COVID or isolation process, or this, let's say, a shake, not only in the economics but in the way of people think, this little bit of shake, let's say, awakens up these heartful or soul higher vibration thinking patterns. And then what I wanted to share about in this video is that I established a group, but it's located in Latvia, but I recommend for you to start doing as well, where basically the intent was that 2 or 3 years ago we wanted to make this peace village, or basically no money society, or maybe popular it's known Ubuntu villages. We wanted to start make these villages. I have a charger. Wait, I will plug it in. Start to make these villages. Wait. And I definitely need it because the phone will charge out. start making these villages. But the Enrico in the channeling was telling that 2 to 3 years we need to just cool down a little bit for this idea. And now approximately 2 years have passed, maybe 2, maybe 3, I don't remember, but it's somewhere around it. And I was thinking to myself, and I made this. The idea which I made was the Telegram group where people just communicate with things that can be traded, like a barter. It's called in Latvian. I don't know whether it's the same name in English, where people can just trade. Just be aware. I have grown some potatoes. I have grown some tomatoes. I have a place for somebody to stay. I'm let's say a carpenter or a builder or gardener or something. Just trade with talents, trade with knowledge, and trade with goods, like beneficial goods, like goods that we actually need. There are so many things that we do not need, and this shake or this COVID virus or this idea is maybe awakening us back to the things that there's actually so little that we need. The technology can, of course, help us to reduce our slavery towards that, maybe to take care of a large potato farm or I don't know, the grain farm, whatever. We don't need to have 100 people of chopping down the grain. Maybe we need to have one tractor and that's it. That's completely fine with it, and therefore 100 people can do other things. So the technology can definitely be a help. And when I talked with these members of these groups, also in the village, Peace Village, they were also telling me an interesting opinion, that he sees that this the society is so deeply depressed. The society is so individualized by its egoistic way of thinking and taking from the others, and there are so many people that suffer from this, like suicides, depressions, and etc. etc. But these are maybe the most rude things I can come up, and I believe it's in different many ways as well. But if we make a commune which is related to sharing and connecting people, the people doing things will definitely find more joy in their lives. Who wants to come here in this planet, in this world? Which soul want to come here to be a slave to some kind of a sinking ship that need to do everything and the same every day? Go back to the work. Go back and do the work. Work 8 hours a day to serve some kind of a banking system, for example. And then maybe going to the work takes you 1 hour, and coming back from the work in traffic jam takes you another hour. Then who needs like 8 hours of work plus 2 hours of working for the oil companies? Who wants to? Who can live this long? Who can? Well, there definitely will be a breaking point in this situation. And returning back to the self, I would call it, returning back to who we actually are. And this information also came from the channeling, that the beings, we channeled the one future story from a human that lived in 2148 year, and he was talking that he was sharing that in the year of 2023, 2080 to 2020, I think, or 2090, he said, or 23, I don't remember, but he said it's a survival of large industries. It's like a fight for survival for large industries. And I reckon there was large businesses in these fields. And he said, and people thought it's like a fight for survival, and they said not like fight for survival for individuals, but fight for survival for the large industries, and like governing industries or business industries, you will call it like this. And he said that after that, 23, 25 was the year of society coming together and rebuilding the society. It's like people started to become connected and realize that how we lived is not the way we want to live anymore. We want to rebuild the society. We want to have what I understood, a more sharing and a more money-less society. And therefore there is a different government needed, a completely different way of people communicating with each other. Everything is completely different there. And so what I see right now, that this is the being told to everybody in the room, you are here, everybody of you are here to make these changes. And it was exactly pointed also that we in the room are those who are here to make the changes, but it was addressed that people that are right now living here are addressed to these changes. I mean, like you, me, and everybody else. And so what I think is this corona or this whatever it is opening us or opening humanity the door for changes to happen. For changes in the waking up state, for the changes into being more of ourselves, I mean, like self, the higher self, the higher spirituality that we are. So what I suggest to people is joining and building up these barter groups in telegrams, in forums. Okay, somebody write a comment, I'll read a little bit later. In telegrams, in groups, in forums, where people are connected, because how I see it is that, imagine one day everything will just stop, completely stop. Or the money disappears, or electricity disappears, the banks stop, something will happen and everything will stop. What you will do right now, what can you do? At that moment, what is possible? If everything just stops, there's a complete panic and misunderstanding, and there's a complete lack of knowledge what to do. But if we start building the informational structure right now, connecting with people, talking with people, sharing with people, and providing some kind of alternative solution how we can exchange into barter ways, like give me something, I will give something to you. Like we can exchange it into, we can use it and exchange into positive and harmonious ways, then no big deal. Everything is stopped, and it's like people in countryside. There's like all the cafes on the cities are closed. Everything basically is closed, and in countryside, people, no big deal. We are living further. There's no big problem. Well, maybe there could be something that we would need, like maybe some equipment, like maybe some. So imagine people who have tractors that go on fuel, and all of a sudden they just stop. They're like, okay, now it's a problem. We don't have any fuel right now. And imagine how beneficial it will be for the world if there is no diesel and fuel engines anymore. How beneficial it will be. And Jesus, I cannot wait for that day. I will be going over the Latvia's biggest electrical how do you change this? Electrical dam, like I don't know if it's the biggest, but it sure looks big. They create the electricity from the Riga Daugava. So yeah. So my suggestion to people like you and we and everybody else is to make these communities, forums, and connect these communities and forums together. Enlighten the world with those people. There are so many people that are willing to be enlightened. They are willing to be to start talking about this. They are willing to start sharing these ideas. I definitely think I will lose internet in this tunnel. So stay tuned for a couple of seconds internet loss. Still connections, no losses, great. So there are so many people that will benefit and will start talking, will start sharing, because there's so many others that are maybe louder and primitive are definitely taking over the majority of society. But even imagine like people who are meditative, people who are harmonious. There's definitely a balance between them, and there are definitely many people like that. will start taking over, will start sharing their knowledge, that all other, the society part, will just accept it to be true and accept it to be, yeah, that's a good idea, yeah, I like this idea, yeah, okay, let's start doing this, let's start sharing this. And imagine a smaller part and a bigger part and even a more bigger part starts living alternatively, living from the heart, living from the sharing. And there is a saying which I had since I was young, is like, there was like a mind-blowing idea to me, and this idea was as follows. Imagine, six gears, a little bit messed up, which gear I should put in while driving down the hill. So imagine this, we are as a one individual. For example, if we only care about ourselves, we can only help to ourselves only, self. Which means that you is the only one that can help you. But if there is a society which is established to help each other, then there's so many, nearly everybody is here to help you. And it's a completely way of thinking, it's a completely different way of even imagining. But I do believe it's possible. I don't even believe, I know it's possible, because it's just a way of how you believe, it's just a way of how you think. And maybe a week or two you think this way, and then you believe it, and then you know it's possible, and then you start thinking how it could be possible to complete otherwise. So it's not about, I don't think it's about, the brain itself is structured like what you started to accept and you started following, like going to the work and back, going work to back. The brain neurons lock in a particular position. Therefore, if you, for example, lose your job and go living to the countryside, you will still have this idea of finding work, but the neurons will start making new connections and thus adjusting to the new system and then following the new system or the new patterns. And then it will be really difficult to enter back this work home situation, and you will think that living like this is totally impossible. So it's a matter of it's a matter of the brain, let's say, adjustment for a period of time. That's why some people think it's not possible, but you just need to have a little bit time, and it will find a way. So make these forums, make these groups. I will be sharing maybe a little bit sooner of my new website, which I'm making, especially also a special part of this, let's say, no money or Ubuntu or barter type of society, where we can, let's say, connect already most of the alternative villages or places or people together to start making what was there? Shootout. You can go and fire some guns there, like, yay. To start connecting and building up this, like, a new world, a forum of a new way, a new society, connecting the society together. It's like, and the like a slogan or the logo or the main idea of this is, we have lived so much in the darkness, it's enough. We want to live in a new alternative society where these qualities of heart or spirituality or caring about each other is more or do exist rather than what they have been so far. And so I see that universe is going into this direction. It's starting to balance out in this direction. So there will be a long time where people will start live like this, and eventually, I think, return to the light. So I think this is a way of us lifting the vibration. This is a way of us showing the way for the others, showing a way for the new society. and then what else was there? I want to read the question was there. I posted my prophetic dream on Facebook about the fall of the industrial era. I find it and post it in the comments perhaps. Okay, and I do want to note in this video as well that right now maybe the website which I have, the forum which I have, is not that useful for people who speak in English, but what I want to suggest is keep in mind this website, Art-Line Offline Peace.info, like Art of Peace, but only the minus lines between the words, and .info. And maybe after a week or two, there will be a new website with completely understandable and English content as well. So I think that could be the place where we can meet up and link together. There are other places like other societies, other Facebook groups, other forums, other Telegram groups, WhatsApp groups, whatever, where people already are sharing like this, and therefore you can introduce groups that are maybe more closer to your country or city, and find those groups, whether they're on the website or whether they're somewhere else, and you can just link up and meet up with them and be ready for the changes. And yeah, so what I think also is that right now maybe this thing maybe will balance out and this COVID virus will reduce, but you can just see how fragile this system is, how fragile it is actually, and how a smallest informational bubble that comes up can dramatically change everything. Like some people say that media doesn't affect the way we think, and I will say, well, this is completely wrong. Media completely affects, or mostly affects, what you think. So many people are so into this, what they hear, that they are totally under hypnosis, I would call it. So okay, if you have any questions, you can write them now, and then I need to finish this video, but I will write a comment. Yeah, I'm back. You know, I have seen in the channeling so many other societies on different planets who live joyfully without anything, who live blissfully without anything. I mean, like anything that we have right now, like cars and everything, who live joy. They're just happy. And other societies who are technology advanced and also are happy because they live completely differently. They don't have this barbarian way of thinking. So okay, so I don't see any comments. I think I will leave you now with this. I think I will leave you on this topic. Start making these groups, start joining these groups. Stay tuned on the. Thanks for the video. Well, thank you for watching. And another thing is, which I want to mention, is that how I see these changes will not happen if there is a egoistic thinking, because egoistic is something that is really difficult to escape from some people. What it means is that isn't the reptile. I think it's the reptile genetics that's causing this, but it's not that the souls or what are the reptiles or everything. It's I will just continue the story about egoistic thinking, and maybe it will answer your question as well. Imagine sharing this word, this new idea, this new way of living. Imagine you start sharing this. But definitely many people, or some people, or a part of a group we'll have this in egoistic way, like I want to be the leader, or I want to benefit from this, or maybe a new world society will have a new money system, and I want to use this money to be over the others, like heuristic type of thinking. And I think it will not work like this. And when you present the idea of something that is touching the soul, or something that's awakening the soul, this idea of, let's say, a new world society, or a waking up a new world society, people feel this heartfulness or feel the energy in it, and they need to, and I think they will drop down this selfish, egoistic thinking. They will just drop it down. They will see that others have dropped it down. They will drop it down as well. So what I think it's really important actually I think it's people are already ready for that, but it's really important to how you call it, kill this self-egoistic thinking in the root for the cause of better changes. Because everything that will have egoistic way of ideology, selfish oriented, I don't know how to call it, I think you understand it, but I don't know how to explain it in more different words, then it will end up being in the same society that we all are already now, and it will not lead anywhere good anyways. So if we can, I don't want to use the word kill, but I don't know, drop this egoistic or sacrifice this egoistic thinking, then our souls, our higher energy, our beingness can arise, can awaken, and then a completely new way of thinking, unimaginable thinking will happen. So this is what I at the end want to tell to everybody, to give a little of self-sacrifice, self-egoistic sacrifice. I know that many people don't have it, because it's the new human DNA, genetics, that new people don't even have it. I want to give a comparison that when people want to buy a house, for example, they want to buy a house for themselves. I want to have it. I want to be it myself. I want to be individual property to myself. But some people, they are like, I just want to live in a house. I don't want to have it. I don't know actually what it means to have something. They're like really loose on the havingness part, or the egoistic havingness part. They're really loose on it. They're really, let's say this quality is really reduced. So I see this in many people, even around me. Some are, like I call it, the Mars energy people that wanna, no, I need this. You need to ask money for this. Then why do you do this? And etc. But there are so many people that just want to share. They want to openly share with information. They like want to give. They don't want to ask anything about them. They just want to give it. And eventually they want to just, by sharing knowledge, they want to destroy other systems. They would just like be an open way of thinking. So this is what I want to share in this video. I think there was a question, but I will check it right now in a really narrow way. Apparently this ego has destroyed past advanced civilizations Earth. Can you channel some past Earth advanced civilizations? Yeah, I have a lot of information on past Earth civilizations, but I don't have the time to actually share this right now. I need to go somewhere. I need to find out where I should be going. But maybe after 2 hours I will be online again, and maybe then I can share other these past Earth civilizations that have been destroyed. And I actually have done videos about it, but maybe not that much in English. Okay, so, but yeah, what I can agree is that this egoistic or a reptile of a thinking way has actually destroyed lots of things, good things before. But keep in mind that the way of universe balancing is that there will be always some destruction and always some creation in the universe. So, nevertheless, egoistic or non-egoistic, somebody has. Nevertheless, there will be always something that will be born and something will be destroyed. That's the way of the balancing in the universe. Everything that has a beginning has an end. Everything that goes left will go right. Everything that goes up goes down. Eventually spread the days and nights evenly. I mean, and etc. and etc. and etc. So everything is in a complete balance. So the difference is that we have lived in a complete long period of darkness, and now it's time to balance this out in a long period of light or awakening, let's say, state. So this is the way of changes, how I see it, the balancing out long negative happenings to long-term positive happenings. So okay, bye-bye, and thank you for listening. I really enjoy talking with you. Bye.